Welcome to the Hayhurst Brothers Podcast with your host, Paul Risse.
Commence. Oh my gosh, that's going to really mess it up, isn't it?
Nope. We've done this like multiple times.
Oh, sorry. Well, I'm just saying when you clap and then you clap, it's going to create two, and it makes it harder to match up the audio.
That's how you know how to clip it, though, on the first and second clap.
You do the first or the second. It gives you options.
Yeah.
So welcome to the fourth podcast.
Nice, Paul.
I'm here with Jake Hayhurst. He's a Hayhurst Brothers owner, along with Daniel, who's also a Hayhurst Brothers owner. Together they make the Hayhurst Brothers. And we're going to do a neat podcast. And I really like this because Dan hasn't been a part of this, and usually he's a part of everything. So it's going to be fun.
It will be a good one.
They let me out of the office to finally do something fun.
Dan works on all the plans and the business side of things, and stays very, very busy. We're very grateful for Dan.
Yes, we are.
And for Jake.
More grateful for Daniel, though.
I want to circle the wagon on the annual versus, I think you just want to call this episode 4.
I would agree with
Podcast
Daniel.
episode 4.
Yes, this is our fourth weekly podcast. Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Fourth episode. So.
Okay, nice. So today we're going to do podcast Q&A. So the first one is from Cassia Irwin. I think we know her, don't we?
We do. We're building a house for Cassia.
That's right.
Nice.
Very beautiful home, actually, out in Jacksboro.
A Hemingway Atomic Ranch, one of our portfolios.
Why is it called the Hemingway?
Well, all of our portfolios are based on authors that we like. So Hemingway. Now, actually, interesting question you have there, Paul, because I believe that the Hemingway is my favorite. You believe it is? I believe that it's my favorite one, so we named it the Hemingway because I think he's the best author. So the best floor plan gets
Better
the
than
best.
Louis L'Amour, huh?
The L'Amour is more popular amongst the folks, but with me,
You like him as an author better. You
I like the
Louis
Hemingway.
L'Amour better than Ernest.
I'm not more talking about the plan itself.
Oh, I thought you were saying you labeled it that because you like Ernest Hemingway.
I do like Ernest Hemingway and his uniqueness, and that he's just,
He wrote about a boat
He wrote about a boat.
and an old man.
Old Man in the Sea, I think they
That's
call
right,
it.
Paul.
Nice, Paul.
So anyways, sorry for that, Paul.
But her question is, what architects do you draw inspiration from?
Lots.
Well, just tell me about them. That's the question. Go for it.
I can do that. So Daniel will probably have some as well. But me personally, I think it's pretty obvious. We kind of draw from the mid-century movement, which the almost creator of that would be the Frank Lloyd Wright would be the basis for that. But also there is Richard Neutra that we really like. We draw a lot from Eames. There's a lot of architects from that movement that did some really incredible things, and their use of space, their use of light, being able to put a house into a environment, and it almost complements the environment. It does complement it almost, in some cases, if you look at a horizon, it almost disappears because it's not intrusive, but it's beautiful.
Seamless.
Nice.
Yeah, I would say it's really the whole movement of the mid-century is what we draw on. We have a lot of books in the office from Eichler to Frank Lloyd Wright, Neutra, that you can't look through those books without getting inspired.
Boom. That's exactly right. You really can't look at any of their work without it inspiring you in some form or fashion.
Nice. Well, TBH, y'all kind of inspire me with how y'all build, because one time Jake built this little shed house above my house, and I was so mad at him because it was so good, and then he just turned it into a little workshop instead of a tiny home. And so Jake
It's
and
a well
Dan,
house, Paul.
well, y'all inspire me. So
Thank you, Paul.
Yeah,
Paul.
absolutely.
That's
You
true.
inspire me
Jake
too, Paul.
Jake will take a well house and just
Right.
with some scrap wood throw
Yeah.
something together, and it
Looks better than anything.
You would go live in that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I would.
Would Brittany?
No. No. All right. Next question is from Sap Woodworking. Hey, Sap Woodworking. So he's actually on Instagram. He does amazing prints of basically trees that have been cut down. gets out some ink, rolls it on top, rolls it over the history of the tree, so you get all the rings. And
cool.
He does good stuff. But he had a question and said, how did y'all get started?
Ooh, that's a good question. As a whole, I think the roots come from our childhood. I would always build things with my hands, and Daniel was always sitting at the table drawing house plans, like for real. My grandma loved drawing house plans, and I remember we're outside, doing something outside, and Daniel's inside with our grandma, Great Ma, and he's in there drawing house plans and actually wanted to become an architect. I mean,
That's right.
You can probably talk to that a little more, but...
Yeah, I wanted to be an architect. Was really, just inspired by structures of all kinds, but house plans specifically, and then Jake left high school, and we went to, where'd you go?
I went to school in Denver for construction management and construction sciences, knowing I wanted to be a builder, and then we kind of both went our separate ways. Daniel went to film school. We both did different things with our careers, and then in 2014, we started this actual business, Hayhurst Brothers. It started in home building, design, commercial space, building furniture, designing furniture and cabinetry, and that's grown into what it is now. And we've really
zeroed in.
Thank you, Daniel. Zeroed in on
That's good, Dan.
home building and home design.
So if you've been to West Oak Coffee or Kimsey's in Argyle or Trinity Street, those are some of the first ones they worked on and built out. Absolutely stunning spaces.
West Oak Coffee Bar's in Denton, Paul.
I said Kimsey's in Argyle. I don't think I said anything.
Well, you said West Oak or Kimsey's in Argyle.
In Argyle. They're not both in Argyle.
Right.
I would agree with that sentence, but I
Thank
was
you.
more descriptive towards the end of the sentence, and it was not necessary to correct it, but it's okay. And then what is y'all's biggest influence? It's kind of similar to the first question, but what is your biggest influence?
Our biggest influence, I think, I guess I was going to say my drive, but my influence maybe would be just God's creation, nature, what God created, and seeing the beauty of the land and being able to fit a home into a piece of property that is functional and beautiful and long-lasting. But influence-wise, I would say God's creation.
Yeah, I agree. Something that someone can be proud of. You look around and there's just a lot of, unfortunately, blah out there.
Wow.
Dan said blah.
There it really is.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, Jake has a foreign exchange student from France here. And what did she say to you when you picked her up from the airport?
Picked her up from the airport, and she's looking at the buildings as we're driving home, and she said, "These buildings are ugly."
But that's not,
It's true.
I mean, you go to her hometown and everything in France, everything's beautiful. My brother Connor said, I don't know why, but it seems like France has a corner on the market for beauty. But it's true, they care greatly about what everything looks like. And here I think we've got into
what's the cheapest thing
what's
we can
the
throw up?
cheapest possible thing you can throw up. And it's just not, pretty. It's not functional. It's just not something that we, I think, as Americans can be proud of is our architecture, but they're in today's age. But I think kind of going back to our roots and drawing from these great architects and these great designers of past generations and pulling that to today is what really gets us excited.
Nice. Y'all ready for the next question?
I'm
Thank
ready.
you, Paul.
I heard you kind of sip loud there, Dan.
I'm just trying to be just like Paul a little bit.
All right, this is from someone named Billy Benedict. How many deals a year does Jake's hair close?
Every one of them?
So I realized from this angle, well, actually with Jake's head turned, you can see the man bun. But for anyone who doesn't know, Jake has just beautiful hair. I mean,
Well,
if you're a girl, you would be jealous of Jake's hair. If you're a girl and you're a model, you only had model hair, you would be jealous of Jake's hair.
And the joke around the office is that Jake just has to let his hair.
Dan.
Jake just has to let his hair down.
Oh, it sure is getting hot in here. You know?
He never gets tickets.
Yes.
He gets pulled over a lot, but never gets a ticket because all he has to do is just drop that hair.
It has nothing to do with my hair. And the only reason I have long hair is my wife likes it. So, I mean.
There you have it.
I don't think that's true, but it's probably partially
Well, I have
true.
cut my hair off, and she said, I wish you wouldn't have cut your hair. So, therefore, the only person I'm trying to please and to impress is my wife. So, if she wants me to have long hair, I'm going to have long hair.
There you go.
You can't argue with that.
No, you can't. And I've noticed a theme. People seem to ask about how strong Jake is or how nice his hair is. It's almost as though people find him attractive. It's weird. All right.
That's a strange thing, Paul.
Red the Third. How much are the builds? A pretty direct question.
How much are the builds?
Yeah. Go ahead. Depends on the Simple Life or if it's portfolio. Simple Life range between $179,000 to $314,000, and the portfolios square footage right around $250 is an average per square foot.
Yeah, I would say so. We've got some plans that are $220 a square foot, and then
As a matter of fact, I was working on some of the pricing today, and we have
convenient.
$208 a square foot, Paul.
How about that, Paul? You just said $250.
I said average. I said average. So let's say 208 to 289. So the average, that could be somewhere around 250.
So it kind of just depends
I
because
was
we have
actually quoting Jake.
a lot of patio space and a lot of things that don't get factored into that price, per square foot. You might only have 2,000 square feet, but the whole slab of air-conditioned space, but the whole slab is more like 4,000 square feet because of all of the patio space. And
our garages are fully insulated and fully finished. I mean, a lot of builders, they also will give you a price per square foot based on, basically slab square footage. So they may say, oh, we're $170 a square foot. Just make sure that you're comparing apples to apples, because if they're giving you $170 a square foot, but then you see they're also including their porches and their garages, then that's a very different number. Your appraisal is going to be based off of AC square footage, and realtors, your house sale is going to be based off of AC square footage. So that's a number you're definitely going to want to look at, and that's why we give our price per square foot based off of AC space.
right.
Okay. Thank you all very much for answering
You're
that.
welcome, Paul.
Sure,
Thanks
Paul.
for
You
asking.
did a pretty good job. The next one is from someone named Shock Lee Customs. Oh, I think that might. You remember? That's Jarrell.
Yeah, that's Jawbone.
Oh, hey, John.
Jorgle
Hello,
Bone.
Jarrell.
And
He's a talented man.
Yeah, he is.
If you need a custom car built or anything done automotive, Jarrell's your man.
That's right.
You talk about handy. I was broke down on the side of the road one time. He came over with a gas can and a screwdriver and was able to get my truck back running, and he somehow...
did he put gas in it?
No, he didn't even put... He used the gas can as my gas tank.
Oh, okay. Got you.
So he rigged the whole truck up with a hose and a siphon to where my truck was running off of this little gas can.
That's pretty cool.
It was pretty cool.
I like it. So he says, what's your favorite vintage house? Like one that we've been to or explored? I'll just speak for me. In Isaiah, it talks about rebuilding ancient ruins, and I like anything that is an old existing structure and then someone's brought it back to life. I've been through some of those, and they're very, very cool.
That is definitely something you would like, Paul.
Thank you. So that doesn't really answer the question. I guess it's kind of a vintage house, but it's just really run down and it needs like a remodel. So that's kind of inspiring to me.
Nice.
What about y'all?
I think for me, a couple come to mind, but one that I've actually been to is the Frank Lloyd Wright House in Carmel by the Sea, and it sits out on this point, and the walls, he built the retaining walls where the sea actually comes and hits those walls, and it splashes up on the patio as you're sitting out there. And it's not a very large house, but there's windows all around. I mean, it's literally, he built it specifically for this weird shaped lot, but it is very inspiring to just sit there and stare at the house. It's so beautiful.
I would say a Frank Lloyd Wright home for me too. That is in Arkansas, Bentonville. Yeah, you can go tour that home, and now it wasn't originally there. They brought it back.
I think it was built in New Jersey or something, the Bachman Wilson house, but they actually took it down piece by piece and moved it to Arkansas. And it's pretty awesome.
Which not a lot of his homes were. Some of them were big, but a lot of them weren't these massive structures. Which is what we try to do too. Is not, use the space wisely. It doesn't have to be this massive home if you're using the space creatively.
I would agree.
Nice. Okay.
What else do you have, Paul?
Next question. Who has done the most pull-ups in the office?
Oh, Paul.
Oh, this is a Paul question. Let me tell you why. Okay. For a while, we were really doing a lot of pull-ups at the office, and Paul said Daniel had done like 500 or 600 pull-ups in a day, and Paul said, "Oh, no big deal. I've done 1,000." So Daniel worked his way up to 1,001. Daniel did 1,001 pull-ups in one day, and Daniel came in and said, "Paul, sorry, I did 1,001 pull-ups yesterday." And then Paul goes, "Oh, sorry, Dan, I meant I did 1,200."
So all of a sudden,
it doesn't matter how many Daniel does. Paul's just going to say that he's done more.
Well, no, I would actually. 1,000 is a lot, and I mean a lot. There's like maybe less than 0.001% of the world will ever even attempt it. And so Daniel is very strong. He's just almost as strong as I was. And so what I originally told him was that I would do 1,000 a day. But I didn't say that was the most I ever did. The most I ever did was 1,200, and I was trying to be the world's fittest man. But there's no way of proving it. It's just like me talking. But I will, if someone beats me in something, I'll say, yeah, you won. And I'm not.
Paul, Daniel said I did 600 pull-ups, and then you said, well, I've done 1,000 before.
I didn't, you're misquoting me.
No, never.
I mean, I have done 1,000 before, so it's correct, but I wouldn't.
Why didn't you say I've done 1,200 before?
I didn't. You're just making stuff. I mean, you're basically phrasing it to where I'm wrong. Anyway,
I wouldn't recommend that though.
What?
Doing 1,000 pull-ups
It's
in one
hard.
day.
It's very hard.
And it just puts too much stress on your body. So
okay.
And it's all consuming.
Yeah,
that's right.
Okay.
I have not done 1,000 pull-ups. So
I had to do 15 pull-ups every 9 minutes.
Dang.
In order to make that happen. So
I was really proud of you. Your back was shredded.
thank you, Paul.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It
Paul.
was the key.
Yeah.
It still is. Y'all are always shredded, but you just are bigger. What is your 5-year goal as a company?
To build excellent homes in the North Texas area that are unique and, again, something that people can be proud of. And, something that everyone can afford too. That's why we have the Simple Life series up to our custom homes.
Yeah, I'd say probably we're doing somewhere around 12 to 16 homes a year, and I'd like to get to probably 30 homes a year. But I think there's a sweet spot where you're not this giant company that can't control quality and can't continue to build something beautiful and meaningful. So I think that 30 homes a year is a really good sweet spot to control quality, still be able to put our passion into each home without it becoming just a job, because we're very passionate about what we do, and I never want it to just be a job. I want it to be something for all the men that work for us and with us that's exciting, and we're creating a home for these families.
My goal is to convince Jake and Dan to slowly extend our build range so that we can say yes to the people that call and say, oh, I live in Granbury, or I live here. Can you build me a home? I love y'all. And I say,
that's your 5-year goal, Paul.
Let me talk to Jake and Dan, and they're stubborn about quality control, but I'll try to talk to them. So my goal is to slowly expand our build range.
We're here in Weatherford. I mean, this was outside of our building.
I've accomplished the goal, partially.
I mean, it's every day Paul's asking if we can go
Well,
like
we have
3
a lot of
hours
people
away.
asking.
Houston, Paul's like, can we build in Houston?
I've never said that.
Galveston. I mean, you just never know what Paul's going to bring to you.
But
never
so
said
we might
that.
say yes. You never know. So you're going to keep asking, right, Paul?
He would love it if we built in Austin. I can
yeah.
tell you that. Paul loves Austin.
I do love Austin, especially the old Austin, and I would hate to be super successful as a builder. Seems like a horrible goal. Move where people like artistic things and have money. Nope,
true.
not going to do that.
Yeah.
All right, well, thank you all for watching the fourth weekly podcast, and Jake and Daniel both did really good.
Thanks, Paul.
Thanks,
Yep,
Paul.
thank you for your questions, and we'll see you next week.
Adios.
That's pretty good.
Nice, Paul. Good job.
Thanks.